Good evening, my name is Micahel Layne Heath. And
what's up, Michael?
As a paid in full member of the creative underclass of San Francisco, I wish to submit the following somewhat articulate rant. No other word for it, baby. I don't get it. I simply don't get it. Does anyone, I'm speaking rhetorically here, rate this Chuck Klosterman guy as any kind of a writer? I would genuinely like to know. I managed to successfully avoid reading this avidly populist culture vulture, journalist stuff for some time, until two occurrences. One, being involved in the literary deathmatch event in San Francisco last spring, and one of the judges saying my writing reminded him of Klosterman. Okay, I will concede that we were both brought up in roll back of beyond boondock-like environments, CK in North Dakota, me in Maryland. The comparison blessedly ends there. Then I scanned an online recent chat with a fellow poet / scribe pal. In it, he had some positive comments about one of CK's books. Its title I will not dignify by naming. As a calculating sense of Klosterman's longing to identify with the classic rock multitudes, frankly, reeks from the title on. Don't you just love these guys who make a tidy living defending the indefensible? Yes. McDonald's, Guns N' Roses, U2, yes. Britney fucking Spears, for Christ's sake. Guys who put forth the opinion that a band like the Ramones is unworthy of its place within the expanse of pop music due to not going platinum and being more favored by rock critics than hair metal money spinners like, wait for it, Rat! Horrors! Oh, the horror! Who then turn around and make cute little comments in footnotes, no less, about GOW being the worst president since Grant. Really, can this Pratt be any less lacking in convictions? Besides, who does he think he is? He is David Foster Nicholson Wallace Baker? You know those guys? The unfortunate thing about that article is it actually had the seed of a far more intriguing think piece than could have been so easily cultivated. Namely, the idea, all too briefly posited by RCK, that the then recent death from HIV of one of Rat's guitarists might be the harbinger of chickens coming home to roost. Of the libertine, atavistic, borderline homophobic Sunset Strip hairband community being ultimately, fatally held accountable. That premise, in the midst of any single-cell two-bit hack worth their word processing software, could have been transformed into an intensely thought-provoking piece of investigative sociopolitical journalism. Sadly for his readers, the appeal of kicking around the barely rigor-mortified lapsed junkie corpse of Dee Dee Ramone was clearly too hefty for Mr. Klosterman to resist. So, sorry Chuck, as much as I disdain some of the musos you heap scorn upon, perhaps deservedly so, need you be reminded that the people who put that bastard W in office twice were probably the ones who in their youth bought records by Rat and Britney and Billy Joel, all of whom and more are given much ink within your CV, including those from your home state you are so goddamn proud of referencing. Quote, Look at what's on bookstore shelves these days. Look at these idiots who write them and those who buy them. There's lots of idiots, unquote. So a glancing acquaintance of mine who used to rule the West Coast answer to Spy magazine and has now co-written a history of Bay Area punk once told me, I sometimes wonder, in the face of heavyweights like these in the literary piranha pond, if it's even worth carrying the fuck on. But then, as always, something comes along to extricate oneself from such a self-pity cesspit. For me, it was the note I got from a musician friend after I'd vented my distaste for our Chuck to him. "Oh, God, thank you," he began. When Klosterman's quoted in band documentaries I watch or in something I'm reading, his blurbs always come off as that guy who wasn't there, but has heard all the cool older people talking about it. And now he's going to go back and tell all the kids his age about it. It's like that guy at the party who swears he saw the Beatles on the Sgt. Pepper tour. We love you, Patrick. So, in conclusion, maybe this is all a bit harsh, forgive if need be, but really, the effort spent to read, even to consider Klosterman's admittedly well-crafted devil's advocacy ultimately feels like an expense of time never to be relived. Best to just leave this hack with literary pretensions / delusions to his intended and evidently enamored audience. As for me, to paraphrase a far more eloquent pop culture observer, I think someone should stick a Sixer, a PBR, and an iPod stocked with Kiss tunes into this prairie putz's hands, shove him into a corner, and just forget about him.